Georgian Court University Acrobatics and Tumbling is live on the CACC Digital Network. A good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Alongside Sam Hosford, I'm Andrew Byrne. Tonight, the Lions of Georgian Court University take on the Cougars of Caldwell University in a National Collegiate Acrobatics and Tumbling Association meet that doubles as the inaugural CACC Cup. For Georgian Court, they enter the night 3-3 on the season. They last took to the floor on March 28th. They fell to Long Island 249.5 to 201.295. For Georgian Court, it was their third straight meet, scoring 200-plus points. For the Cougars of Caldwell, they come in at 4-1 on the season. They started the year 4-0. They too lost to LIU last time out. That was way back on March 21st. 236.700 to 208.05. And for the first time tonight, we say hello to my broadcast partner, Sam Hosford. And Coach, as we look around the GCU Wellness Center, the fans are still filing in. This is not just a regular meet. The CACC Cup is on the line. These are the only two schools in the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference that offer acrobatics and tumbling. So they've decided to make this the CACC Cup. There's going to be some hardware handed out at the end of the night, and both teams are fired up to compete. What are you looking for from Georgian Court and Caldwell?
Definitely excited to see them compete against each other again this season. I mean, the score was super close last time, so being able to see what they bring to the mat, obviously a little bit more of a heavy-handed matchup here, so hopefully we could see their best.
You mentioned that first meet. It came on the 19th of February in North Jersey. Caldwell upending Georgian Court 201.750 to 199.710. And you can see here come the Cougars to the raucous cheer of their crowd. Caldwell 4-1 this season. And on the other side, you have a Georgian Court unit that's in their second year. And here come the Lions. They are 3-3 and they have been competing very well of late, 200-plus points in each of their last three meets. A little while ago, I had the opportunity to catch up with Georgian Court assistant coach Mags Gelati. She talked about the bittersweet night this will be. In addition to it being the final meet of the season and the CACC Cup, it is also senior night. A lot of emotion inside the Wellness Center. Here is the Georgian Court first-year assistant coach.
Coach, it's the inaugural CACC Cup tonight, Georgian Court and Caldwell. You can see inside the Wellness Center, the energy is there already from both teams. How excited is Georgian Court to try to pick up that first inaugural CACC Cup victory?
Our girls are extremely excited. They've worked so hard in practice these last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to see what they put out there.
This is a Caldwell team that you saw earlier in the season in one of the closest meets you'll ever see. What did you learn about them and about yourself in that first one?
You know, we can see that they have some higher start values than us, but we also know that if we can hit and we can have a really tight, very clean meet, it's very close and it's really going to come down to whoever hits.
How emotional is this night going to be? You put the CACC Cup on the back burner for a moment. It's the final meet of the season, and it's also senior night. Is it kind of a bit bittersweet? It's
definitely very bittersweet. We love our seniors, Sam and Emma. They've added so much to this team. They've just been such incredible leaders to all of the girls on the mat, and so it's going to be really sad that this is their last meet. It's also my end of my first season coaching, and so that's really cool as well, and I'm just really excited for them.
Last time out against LIU, we saw a lot of different Georgian Court student athletes step up and compete in new spots. Are we going to see that again tonight as well?
We do. We have a few more upgrades, specifically in pyramids. We have a brand new inversion pyramid that we're debuting with some different student athletes, as well as in the team event, freshman Caitlin DePasquale is trying a brand new pyramid, so we're very excited.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Good luck, and hopefully you guys will be raising the CACC Cup at the end of the night.
Thank you, hopefully.
We welcome you back inside the GCU Wellness Center. An NCATA meet is a team competition consisting of 6 events. The first event is compulsories, followed by 3 heats within the acro event, then the pyramid event, then halftime. After halftime, there's the toss event, the tumbling event, and the team event. A running score will be kept throughout the meet, and the team with the most cumulative points at the end of all 6 events is the winner of the meet. The first event, compulsory. The compulsory event consists of 4 heats: an acro heat, a pyramid heat, a toss heat, and a tumbling heat. The skills for the compulsory event represent the basic skills of the sport of acrobatics and tumbling. In this event, each team will look to execute the same skills for direct comparison. Each heat begins with a starting value of 10. Officials are looking for execution, body positioning, and stability of structures. Caldwell will go first throughout the night. They are the road team. And Coach, one thing that stands out as you look at the compulsory event, the start value for Caldwell in all 4 heats is 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's starting off strong, obviously. So a little bit of a competitive edge there compared to Georgian court. So I guess we will see what they bring to the mat.
Georgian court's start value is 36. And here come the Cougars for the first time tonight. The compulsory event, this is the first heat, and it is the acro heat. Cadence Vining is your tap on the left. Piper Fitzmaurice is on the right. There's that straddle hold, and now the 2 tops are going to pop over into the inversion.
Very clean so far.
Next element. Arabesque and the Liberty and a full twist. Nicely done by Caldwell to start the night.
And they are fired up.
The visiting fan base is to our right. The Georgian court faithful still filing in to our left. You know, this partner is a Caldwell team that started the year 4-0. They have made significant strides. First year program 0-6. Second year program 3-3. Third year program 4-1, and that only loss came to the high-flying Sharks of LIU.
Yeah, which we obviously saw here right in our own arena. So they definitely are competitive, moving forward every single season, getting better. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Now it is Georgian court that will get set to take to the floor. Georgian court's acro start value is an 8. The big news for Georgian court is it appears that Gianna Mirasol will be good to go tonight. They did not have the sophomore who has been dynamic for Georgian court over the first couple of years in their loss to LIU, but we have been told that she is cleared to participate tonight, and that could be a monumental development for Georgian courts. So here comes Georgian court for the first time tonight. Couple of key student athletes to keep an eye on. Luann LeGregan on your left. Caroline Iacolo on your right.
Slight wobble on that left-hand side, but stuck.
Now the 2 tops are going to time up or climb up. And eventually they're going to want to pop over into the inversion.
And they're releasing onto that one base.
That's Caitlin Meyer, the base on the right. Katie Santisi is the base on the left.
And that was very synchronized.
Both teams start strong. As we take another look at Georgian court's opening heats of the compulsory event, and I know it's early, Sam, but what stuck out for you most about Georgian court's most recent time on the mat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they expanded on their skills last time we saw them, which was nice to see. Obviously, they are trying to up their values every single meet and every single year, so I think that's very important, just being able to be competitive on that mat.
So we are getting set for the pyramid heat, the second of 4. Every movement is set to account. We talked so much about the importance of the counter, kind of one of those unsung roles in acrobatics and tumbling. You talk so much about the importance of the bases and the tops, but the counter really is what gets the movement on the floor going, and if they're off, typically everybody else is off.
Yeah, they definitely play an important role on that mat. I mean, without those counts, you would never know when you need to switch your moves.
So the start value is a 10. It will be a 10 for the remainder of the compulsory event for Caldwell.
And it will be interesting to watch both Caldwell and Georgian Court go in this one because they both start at a 10.0 value.
McKenna Lanza is the all-important counter for Caldwell as we begin the second heat of the compulsory events.
Starting off with those thigh stands.
A lot of excitement for Caldwell as they trot off to the right, and we give our viewers at home another look at the pyramid heat of event number 1 compulsory. And Coach, the inaugural CACC Cup, a little bit more at stake, so do you think these teams feel that pressure to almost have to be perfect tonight?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it probably puts a little extra nerves on their plate, makes them have to compete a little bit harder. I mean, it's the first one. You want to win it. So definitely a little extra competition in there.
And we took a look at the trophy before the meet, snapped a photo of it. It is a nice silver trophy, and it says 2025 CACC Cup champions. Could not confirm from either team if they will treat it like the Stanley Cup and have each team get a chance to kind of take it home for a couple of weeks to celebrate or not. So it'll be Georgian Court coming up for the pyramid heat of the compulsory events. One thing to keep an eye on for Georgian Court, stability throughout the structure. This starts from the bottom all the way to the top.
And they also will start with that thigh stand pyramid.
LeGregan and Iacolo going to be raised to the top here. Caitlin Meyer and Mia Zdanowicz have that important role on that thigh stand.
So far, looks pretty identical to what Caldwell did.
I mean, it's early, for sure, but there has not been any noticeable difference between the two teams a couple of heats in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've been strong. Both of them started off great, and they've been pretty even. So it'll be interesting to see the scores after this event.
Perfect straddle hold from Georgian Court, and then they popped over to end the compulsory pyramid. So the third heat of event number 1 is known as the toss heat. And this is that heat where you don't want to see any movement from the bases, or as Sam likes to say, no bobbles, no wobbles.
No wobbles.
You should
up in the
probably
air.
trademark that phrase before someone else uses it and then says that they came up with it.
No bobbles, no wobbles. Trademarked, Sam Osborne.
All royalties to Andrew Burns. And here comes Caldwell getting set for heat number 3.
And again, they'll start at that 10.0 start value, but so will Georgian Court.
The only difference is that in 2 of the 4 heats, Georgian Court has a start value of an 8. Caldwell was straight 10, so the difference 40 to 36. So here is your toss heats.
And I have to say, pretty much the same height there on both of those tosses. Very, very well executed.
And that's the thing you want to see, right? That everything looks in sync from both sides. So Georgian Court now will get set for the toss heat of the compulsory events. You are watching Georgian Court and Caldwell in the inaugural CACC Cup. It is a National Collegiate Acrobatics and Tumbling Association meet on the CACC Digital Network. It is part of senior nights for Georgian Court here. They will honor their pair of seniors in Samantha Sesta and Emma Bennett following the conclusion of the meets. Busy day on campus. Softball, boy, we braved the cold and the wind for a doubleheader. Georgian Court in the annual Battle of the Lions won the first game 10-2 and 5, lost the second game 7-4. Start value for Georgian Court, as Sam mentioned moments ago, is a 10.
So we will see if this is similar to what Caldwell just did.
Chloe Jorgensen is the counter for Georgian Court. LeGregan and Iacolo with the 2 tops.
Let's hope this is synchronized here. And pretty much was.
Strong catches from Georgian Court. There were no steps coming from the bases. Looked pretty in sync. Maybe Iacolo came down a little bit sooner than LeGregan. But again, and we've talked about this, it is nearly impossible to sync everything up to perfection, which is why, I mean, we've been doing this for a couple of years. We've never seen a perfect 10 given out.
No, never. It's pretty impossible to do it.
As we watch Georgian Court go through, and a split second, Iacolo is caught before LeGregan, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what you want to see from Georgian Court. The final heat of event number 1 is the tumbling heat. This is the mixture of standing tumbling and running tumbling. You'll start with the standing portion. So the student athletes are in a completely static position. Eventually they will move to the side of the mat for the running portion. This is where the judges will be looking for that stuck landing, because any kind of hop or deviation from a normal landing will lead to a point deduction. And on a night like tonight, that could be critical. And we say that because, as Sam mentioned at the top of the broadcast, February 19th, it was 201.750 to 199.710. You're not going to see a closer meet than what these two teams put on up in North Jersey a couple of months ago.
And that is where those bobbles and wobbles matter, Andrew. But as long as it's clean, they keep everything with stuck landings, they'll be in good shape.
So here come the Cougars of Caldwell. They will start in that static position for the first part.
So you'll see those standing back tucks to start. Into that straddle to back tuck. Into a back handspring back tuck.
Now they will maneuver to the side of the mat. This is that running portion.
Let's see. Round off back handspring, back leg.
And for the most part, everybody stuck that landing for Caldwell.
I would say that was pretty clean.
Piper Fitzmaurice, Jill Riggio leading the charge. Mariana Aiello was out there, so too was Jackie Vereen. Just some of the great student athletes for Caldwell contributing to the final heat of event number 1, the tumbling heat.
And you'll see the difference here. Caldwell is starting at that 10.0 start value, whereas Georgian Court will be at an 8.0. So they need to stick this.
I want to ask you, being the home team, you get to see the visiting side go first. How much does that help you to see what you have to do?
I mean, I think it helps a lot, whether you see them compete a really good set, just like Caldwell just did, and there's a little bit of pressure on, and you have to get it done on your side of things as well.
One thing Coach Garsha told us before the meet for the tumbling heat, Georgian Court all week has been working on sticking their landings and being synchronized. Not easy to do when there are 8 student athletes at once, but Caldwell just did a pretty good job. This tumbling heat mixes standing tumbling and running tumbling. And the pre-meet scouting reports told us that Gianna Mirasol was going to return for Georgian Court today. And as we look to our left, we see Gianna Mirasol. And the good news for Georgian Courts, she's going to be out there. They did not have her against LIU. She is one of the better tumblers on this team. So here come the Lions, led by Mirasol. Zdanowicz is out there. Santisi is out there. Zuccardo is out there. Iacolo, Pompliano, LeGregan, Di Pasquale and company ready to go.
All right, we saw those back tucks, standing back tucks stuck there. Slight wobble in the back, but recovered well. And that back handspring into that stretch jump.
So now Georgian Court to the side of the mat. Here we go for the running, tumbling portion.
Good to see a round off, back handspring, back tuck. Not as synchronized as Caldwell, but stuck landings, what matters.
They needed that after there was just a little bit of trouble initially to start that final heat of compulsory. Now, to keep our viewers on the edge of their seats, we have been told that the running score will be passed along up until the team event. But once we get to the team event, no score will be reported until after Georgian Court's senior night festivities and the All-Star team is announced and the MVP is announced. So we're going to be here a while before we know the winner. Let's move on to event number 2, the acro event. This marks the beginning of the optional portion of the meet. Each team competes with skills that are previously chosen with different possible start values. There will be between 2 and 4 athletes on the floor in each of the 3 heats. Heat 1 has 5 elements, Heat 2 has 6 elements, and Heat 3 has 7 elements. The start value is determined by the difficulty and combination of each skill. In addition, each position must be held for 3 seconds. The acro event demonstrates power, strength, and balance. And the heats are the 5-element heat, the 6-element heat, and the 7-element heat. And Sam, what were your initial impressions from event number 1, compulsory?
Yeah, I think that Caldwell came out to compete today. So seeing them strong, obviously a little bit of higher of those start values there, but I don't think Georgian Court was that far behind. So definitely saw some great things out of them. Saw them compete in their own way.
There was about a 12-point differential in the start values over the course of the evening submitted by Georgian Court and Caldwell. So we will see how that shakes out as we get set to see the scores from event number 1. Now this acro event, starting with the 5-element heat, Caldwell a 9.55 start value. Georgian court at 9.25. And the scores are in. For Caldwell in the acro heats. In 8.0, Georgian court a 6.75. In the pyramid heat, Caldwell 9.450, Georgian court 9.40. For Caldwell in the toss heat, 7.30, Georgian court. I'll check that. In the toss heat, it was Caldwell 8.35, Georgian court also 8.35. In the tumbling heat, this is where the separation was created. Caldwell 7.30, Georgian court 3.90. And so after the first event, it is Caldwell 33.100, leading Georgian court 28.400. And Sam, the difference right now was that tumbling heat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw we had that little wobble in the end there, in the beginning of Georgian court's tumbling. So that was definitely a little bit of a point deductor for them. Still time to make it up, though.
5 element heats starting right now for Caldwell. Event number 2, the optional portion of the NCATA meet. Piper Fitzmaurice.
So you saw that she was a little wobbly in the beginning.
.180 twist into the straddle hold. Fitzmaurice is the junior out of Middletown, New Jersey.
And that inversion is released onto that one base from 2 to 1.
Fitzmaurice and Caldwell fired up. Second-year head coach Amira Boyd makes the way all the way down the mats, the practice mat, to give a hug to Fitzmaurice and her teammates as Caldwell trying to pick up where they left off. And now the ball is in Georgian courts. Tell you what, Caldwell not messing around.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that they did make a few mistakes in that acro event, but they recovered well, they came out of it, and they stuck the landing.
Fitzmaurice was a member of the gymnastics team at Middletown High School South, now in her junior season. She was front and center in the 5 element heats for the Cougars. So now it will be Georgian court. Their start value was a 9.25. Again, Caldwell's was a 9.55. Something to keep an eye on as this meet unfolds. Georgian court has gone up over 200 points, 3 meets in a row. They have been rounding into form in what is their final meet of the season. Now it is Georgian court's turn. The All-State gymnast, Luann LeGregan, going to walk into this extension to start it. What a recovery by Santisi.
The pressure's on, Andrew.
Any mistake is magnified in the CACC Cup meet.
And we have that straddle to a pop over into that inversion. And they're going to release that onto one base in a second.
And that once again is Caitlin Meyer holding up LeGregan.
And a good recovery out of the beginning.
It could have gone off the rails right away, but instead LeGregan and Santisi are able to work out the kink, and it winds up working out for Georgian court. Much needed for them in the 5 element heats. And one thing that's nice for both teams, even with this semi-rivalry since they're the only two schools that compete in acro and tumbling. We're still seeing that same level of support between the two teams, cheering each other on as they're going through their different moves.
Absolutely. Women supporting women. It's what we love to see.
Start value for Caldwell in Heat 2, just like Heat 1, 9 points. 5-5. This is the 6-element heat, so you add one more skill to the heats. You know, Caldwell started the season with 4 straight wins over Georgian Court, AIC, Stevenson, and then AIC again before losing to LIU. Georgian Court beat AIC, lost to Caldwell in an nail-biter, lost to Kutztown, beat AIC and Stevenson in a tri-meet, and then lost to LIU. Georgian Court is 3-3. Caldwell is 4-1. So now the Cougars back onto the mats. 6-element heat.
All right, you see that toe pitch into that back tuck dismount.
That is Elia Cardone, the Fairmont State University transfer that was initially doing it with Nariah Sims. Now it's Kamora Bush on your left, Cadence Vining on your right.
And this is always impressive. It's basically that one-man extension overhead with slight help in the back, but a little bit of a wobble there coming out of that. And back into those inversions. Down to the ground.
One thing that's important on a night like tonight, even if there's a mistake, you have to celebrate as if everything went according to plan, because we've talked about this over the first couple of years. The judges can read your facial expression, and
Absolutely.
if you don't have a smile, it's a dead giveaway something went wrong. We saw Caldwell. There was a little bit of an issue, but as they're running off, everybody's full of smiles.
Yeah, gotta fake it till you make it.
You just saw a replay of Caldwell's 6-element heat, and now it will be Georgian Court. While we have a moment to shout out to some of our great sponsors, Stouts Transportation, Kessler Rehabilitation Center. They are the official physical therapy partner of GCU Athletics, and Garden Savings Federal Credit Union, a better place to bank. Alongside Sam Hosford, head Georgian Court women's lacrosse coach, producer Robbie Fitzpatrick, I'm Andrew Byrne. Georgian Court women's lacrosse has their senior day on Saturday against Felician. Georgian Court men's lacrosse has their senior day against Wilmington, and we will likely get rained on. It is not looking too good for the weather, but hey, we just had a little bit of rain for Georgian Court's 22-0 win over Post last weekend, and that did not derail what was a fast start for GCU in the Triumph, their second shutout win of the season. One thing to keep an eye on for Georgian Court, the school record for shutouts in a season is 3. Georgian Court already has 2. Here we go, Georgian Court's turn. 6-element heats. Chloe Jorgensen is on the right for the Lions. She was the counter earlier. Now Georgian Court's going to have to recover quickly.
And that fall's going to cost them a little bit.
Got to shake it off here.
And we're going to see that 3-base inversion. And then they're going to release onto that 1 base.
This is key for Georgian Court. And that's how you recover.
And they recovered well. They will definitely see some deduction for that fall.
Yeah, the red flag was up from the judge. So Georgian Court and Caldwell duking it out in the acro event. One more heat to go. It will be the 7-element heat. We're adding another skill. Georgian Court University, Caldwell. NCATA meet it is the inaugural cup. And here we go. We get a close-up of Georgian Court. Patrick Zahn, Adriana Siana, and assistant women's lacrosse coach Lexi Finn. There is Patrick Zahn. He told us that he's going to try to jump over the next hurdle. If Georgian Court men's lacrosse can beat Wilmington, we have to try to get Coach Finn to do that as well.
She's a little bit accident prone. I'm not sure. The good thing about us being so close to the mat in this arena, Andrew Byrne, is that you don't have to use your binoculars.
I know. Everyone gives me a hard time for using them outside, and then half of the student workers will come over and be like, oh my God, everything's so clear through them. Well, that's what binoculars do.
A great tool to use.
Here we go. Start value is 10 for the Cougars. This is an important heat for them because they have a real opportunity to open up some more separation on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. They're looking to stick this.
The gymnastics MVP at Shaker High School, Cadence Vining, lifted to the top by ZZ Mosley.
And we see that 180 pop over, twisting to another one.
Mosley holding on.
And then we're going to see that one-man extension overhead.
The recovery was there for the Cougars of Caldwell. It wasn't perfect, but it got the job done. But they still have much more to do in the 7-element heat.
And they're going to go into that straddle hold.
It is Jill Riggio holding up Vining. Pop over into that inversion. Now Avery Dunn takes on that supporting role, and Caldwell completes the 7-element heat.
This is going to be important for Georgian Court to come out, recover, and put their best effort into this one.
So it'll be Georgian Court in the 7-element heats. And you make a good point there. A chance maybe for Georgian Court to make a move here.
If they want to start doing it, now is the time.
It's a nice recovery. We got another look moments ago from Mosley. So now it'll be Georgian Court.
And the start values are a little bit different here amongst both teams. Caldwell is going to start, well, they did start at a 10.0 start value, whereas Georgian Court will be at an 8.95.
There's the 180 climb up from Luann LeGregan, the All-State gymnast out of Freehold, New Jersey.
And you see that extension hand in hand into that 180 twist dismount.
Now the toe pitch.
And that back tuck dismount.
It's going to be the last piece of the puzzle here for Georgian Court with this 180 straddle hold. Into the popover. That is the response Georgian Court was looking for.
And that was beautiful by them. They did a good job coming out of that last heat, recovering, and putting on a show.
As we take another look at LeGregan and the Lions, and we move on to our final event before halftime. It is the pyramid event. Athletes are building 3 layers in a structure. The start value of each heat is determined by the difficulty and combination of the entry, the structure, the dismount, and the top body position. The pyramid event is 3 different heats with different requirements for each heat. Heat 1 must have an inversion. Heat 2 must be synchronized, and then Heat 3 is an open heat. 2 key things that the judges are looking for are position of the top and stability of the structure. We start with Heat 1, the inversion pyramid heats. But
Hopefully,
first,
we see that crab pyramid again.
well, I was talking to Emma Bennett, who's one of the seniors for Georgian Court, and I said, are we seeing the crab pyramid tonight? And she gave a thumbs up, but didn't elaborate on anything else, so maybe there's going to be a new wrinkle to it tonight for GCU.
Maybe we are in tune for an upgrade.
Well, you got to pull out all the stops. It is the season finale. You want to bring home that trophy, the CACC Cup. I'm told that each team is going to have 4 participants selected to the inaugural All-Star team, and there is going to be an MVP as well. So we are waiting to get the score for event number 2. If you are curious, after the first event compulsory, Caldwell led Georgian Court 33.100 to 28.400. The scores are in for event number 2, the acro event. 8.050 in heat number 1 for Caldwell. Georgian Court at 8.400. Heat 2, Caldwell 7.700. Georgian Court 5.100. Heat 3, Caldwell 7.750. Georgian Court 8.200. Georgian Court with the edge over Caldwell in event number 2. Caldwell with the edge 23.500 to 21.700. So after the first 2, it is Caldwell in front of Georgian Court 56.600 to 50.100. So as expected, pretty tight a third of the way through as we get set for event 3, the pyramid event, and the inversion pyramid is the first heat. And we're going to see those thigh stands to start for the Cougars. Cardone, the Fairmont State University transfer, getting raised all the way to the top.
And that takes some strength. That's a great save at the bottom there.
Sure was, because for a moment, I thought Cardone was going to smack the back of her head off the knee of the supporting base, but Caldwell recovers, and they have completed the inversion pyramid heat. A little bit more on the 5th-year senior Cardone out of Bristow in Virginia. 3 years at Fairmont State. They made an appearance at the NCATA Nationals in 2022. She was a 2-time Virginia High School state qualifier in gymnastics, and her dad, Jason, was a baseball player at Division I Lehigh. And what did we say their start value was? 9.5, and for Georgian Courts, 9.80.
So this is where you could see Georgian Court potentially catch up and score. their start values are slightly higher than Caldwell here for the pyramid heat.
I don't know if anything's going to come from it, but we were told that Georgian Court put in an inquiry with the judges regarding one of their scores to start the night. I don't know if we've seen that yet in a meet involving Georgian Court, but it was reported to us, so we reported to our viewers. Maybe that's why the flag was up. The Georgian Court was putting in an inquiry, but that's what has been relayed to us, and if we learn anything more, we'll pass it along.
All right, are we going to see the crab pyramid? It looks like we will.
And that means Emma Bennett, the base on the bottom, the multi-sport athlete at Georgian Court, is holding 3 athletes at once. There they go. The 2 mids climb on to Bennett.
Into that one. That was phenomenal.
That is how you fire up the home crowd. Bennett and Georgian Court, they've used that crab pyramid all season long to the delight of their home crowd, and they do it here to start strong in the pyramid event. Bring out the big head.
And the difference we saw in that slight upgrade, that was an inversion pyramid. So they added to it. And that is why their start value is a little bit higher. That takes incredible strength.
Emma Bennett came off, and they had her face on one of those popsicle sticks, ready to cheer the multi-sport athlete. She's also the starting goalkeeper on the women's soccer team. She has been remarkable. You want to talk about the evolution of Georgian Court acrobatics and tumbling from a base perspective, what they've been able to do with Bennett in this crab pyramid roll has really helped Georgian Court.
Her strength is one of a kind. And that got Georgian Court fired up.
It did. Good recognition from the Caldwell faithful as well. And now we are moving on to the synchronized pyramid heat. This is arguably the toughest heat of the pyramids because both pyramids must mirror each other.
So here you'll see Caldwell is going to start with a 9.90 start value, just slightly behind Georgian Court, who's going to start with a 10.0 start value.
And they are going to do the bridge pyramid. So that next base stands on the thighs of the bridge pyramid base. As the tops get raised up, Cadence Vining on the right, Piper Fitzmaurice on your left.
So those straddle holds and that 360 twisting dismount. And not only, Andrew, does that require a lot of strength on the bottom in those bridge pyramids, but a lot of balance too.
Well, that's what you needed from Caldwell after Georgian Court went into their bag of tricks with the crab pyramid. And now it'll be the synchronized pyramid for Georgian Court. Let's shout out some of our more great sponsors: Castle Interactive, Shore Volleyball Academy, Bob McCloskey Insurance, Jersey Mike Subs. We thank them for their support all season long on the CACC Digital Network.
I have a feeling, Andrew, that this heat is going to be close in score.
Well, remember, it came down to the team event when they met in February. I asked assistant coach Mags Gelati what Georgian Court learned from that meet, and she said that they had to raise their start values up a little bit because they knew Caldwell was going to come in with high start values. You know, this meet means a lot for a year. You get to brag that you're the best in the CACC. And so Georgian Court has gone with a start value of a 10. Can they synchronize both of their pyramids?
Looks like they will also be starting in those bridge bases.
Build that table. LeGregan and Iacolo standing right near those bases. They're going to support those next bases, and now they're going to get raised up by Meyer and Zdanowicz. This is critical for Georgian Court.
And that straddle hole, synchronized. Right into that 360 full twisting dismount.
And I want to recognize the bases for Georgian Court. You had Kimberly Shadwald, and you had Ava Margulies, one of those key returners for Georgian Court. Margulies in her free time is a power lifter. She's a member of the USA powerlifting organization, and she has had herself quite a junior season, the native of nearby Toms River.
And that is exactly what Georgian Court needed to get back into this meet.
And now we go to the open pyramid heat. And each team here has their choice of what they kind of want to do.
And we're going to see a 10-point start value for each team.
Coming up after the final heat of the pyramid event, it is Sam's favorite part of the night, halftime. She'll run and get some dinner. Looks like she's brought the rice cakes and the fan favorite, the Drizzlicious Cinnamon Swirl Bites. Also rice cakes, but they're reimagined.
It's the real part of the night, halftime dinner.
Here we go, Caldwell. Last chance to impress the judges before halftime.
And to get into that bridge pyramid.
Latham, New York native, #1 in the red and white with a black bottom. This is Vining out of Shaker High School.
And Andrew, that was solid.
That's what you want to do when you have your choice in the open pyramid heats.
And a little bit different than what we normally see. They normally come out of that inversion into a cradle. But this time, it was right to the ground.
Showing our viewers at home look at the work from Vining and company as Caldwell looking to close the season out on the right foot and get to 5-1. Started this program in 2023 at 0-6, then 3-3, and they come into the evening 4-1. They were the first New Jersey university to offer the sport of acrobatics and tumbling. They announced the addition of the sport in March of 2021. It became their 17th varsity sport. Here's Georgian Court.
Again with that bridge.
So the bottom base will bridge. Now Santisi will step on that bottom base. LeGregan to the top.
Into that pike hold. And that 360 flip to feet. Great execution by Georgian Court.
It is loud and electric inside the Wellness Center. Georgian Court and Caldwell really competing well in the inaugural CACC Cup. We have reached halftime in the Garden State. When we get the score from the recently completed pyramid event, we will pass it along. It is tight between Caldwell and Georgian Court. Halfway through on the CACC Digital Network. Scores making their way into the system. Caldwell and Georgian Court locked in a doozy. Pyramid inversion. Caldwell 8.55, Georgian Court 9.20. Synchronized, Caldwell 9.25, Georgian Court 9.45. In the open, Caldwell 9.80, Georgian Court 9.70. Event total, Caldwell 27.60, Georgian Court 28.35. Your score at the half, Caldwell 84.200, leading Georgian Court 78 .450. And Sam, we are halfway through. What have been your biggest takeaways thus far from the first 3 events of the night?
Yeah, I mean, I think like we said earlier, we did see Georgian Court struggle a little bit in the beginning, but they came back in that pyramid heat and they were able to recover, and nicely at that. So it's good to see that even though they started off a little bit on the weaker side, they were able to strengthen up and be able to be ready for the rest of the meet.
I think we would have been more surprised if one of these teams had a bigger lead than it is now. We were expecting a very close meet, and we are seeing that halfway through tonight's inaugural CACC Cup meet. Event number 4 is known as the toss event. Here, 4 athletes will toss one teammate into the air. That teammate that's tossed is known as the top, that executes a flip or a twist before they are caught. There will be 3 heats in this event: the salto heat, the synchronized heat, and the open heat. The synchronized toss features 2 toss groups. These groups should look exactly alike. The start value of the toss depends on the skills that the top executes in the air. Officials look for height, the top's body position, and tight catches from the bases. A reminder this weekend, Georgian Courts women's lacrosse hosting their senior day as they take on Felician on Saturday at noon. Men's lacrosse in a battle of unbeatens with Wilmington has their senior day at 3. We will be on the air around 11:50. It should be a fun one. It'll be raining, but 2 big ones for Georgian Court women's lacrosse and men's lacrosse. You always want to win on senior day.
I'm hoping the rain holds off, Andrew. I saw no rain at noon on Saturday.
Well, no rain at noon would be nice, because the more game that we can get in before the weather, the better. Looks like there will be a lot of rain tomorrow. That could wreak havoc on Georgian Court baseball. They are supposed to take on Caldwell tomorrow up in North Jersey and then play at home on Sunday. Here we go. Event number 4, the toss event. It starts with the salto heat. Caldwell is already on the mat.
And we're going to see that back tuck salto.
And I believe the top was Avery Dunn, the freshman out of Central Bucks High School South. She was a gymnast there. And Caldwell, right out of halftime, starts very strong. What did we say that start value for Caldwell was? 8.80 in the toss. And for Georgian Courts, 9.
Again, another close one.
And on that 76-inch TV across the way, the fans are treated to another look at the Caldwell salto heat effort. Now for Georgian Courts, they have made an upgrade. For the first time, we are going to see Luann LeGregan attempt a back layout toss. So this is what Coach Jelani was telling us pre-meet. You got to step it up and show some new things in the final meet of the year, and Georgian Court's going to do it right now with Luann LeGregan.
And this is their first time competing this, so let's see how it goes. So definitely looking for that height out of this. That layout and executed. Great job by Georgian Court.
Would never have known that that was LeGregan's first time competing the back layout toss. One of the quiet leaders for Georgian Court, the sophomore out of Freehold, New Jersey, as you get another look at the Lions. 450 salto toss.
And that'll be interesting to see the score differences in both of those. Both cleanly executed, well done. Should be a tight matchup there.
The synchronized toss heat is next. The judges are looking for timing. Anything that has to do with synchronization, judges are looking for timing, and you know, you hate to sound repetitive, but in sync, everything's got to match up. It's very important.
And I think Well, I know that we will have 2 similar start values on this next one for both teams. They both will be starting at an 8.8 start value for the synchronized toss.
For all the latest news and notes surrounding Georgian Court Athletics, be sure to venture to gculions.com. Full schedules, photo galleries, recaps, and much more. gculions.com for all things around Georgian Court Athletics. Here are the synchronized tosses. The counter is McKenna Lanza, the senior from Middletown.
And we're looking for synchronization here. So both of these tosses, almost a slight wobble on that left-hand side pyramid, but they recovered it well. It was very synchronized, and they eventually sucked the landing.
That was Vining on your left, Fitzmaurice on the right for Caldwell. You know, we're seeing all the face paint of the Caldwell fans. I'm a little bothered, Coach, that you didn't come in with a Lions logo on your cheek.
Now that would be bias of me, Andrew Byrne.
I mean, you could have done Caldwell on the other side.
You're right, I could have. I came straight from practice, though, to get here.
Georgian Court Women's Lacrosse, they had their practice going. They were fired up, taking on Felician on senior day. We saw a lot of goals for Georgian Court the last time they were home against Post, and Coach is hoping that that is the case again on Saturday against a very scrappy Felician club.
So like we said, these start values are the same for both Caldwell and Georgian Court in this heat. So we'll see if they perform similar tosses here.
Georgian Court racing out onto the middle of the floor. Synchronized toss. The counter is the freshman Jorgensen out of Monroe Township, New Jersey. McGregor and Yakalo, your taps. That was pretty synchronized.
Unstuck, no wobbles, no bobbles.
You can always tell if things go right based on the crowd. Well, you can tell either way. They're always fired up. And Georgian Court trots off, and we are ready for the open toss. After this, things get really exciting. The big separating event, I would say, is the tumbling event. That is where meets are won and lost.
My favorite portion of the evening.
As Georgian Court, you could just see the catches. They look to be perfect from the lines. Boy, this has been one heck of a meet. Georgian Court and Caldwell, they want the bragging rights, the best in the CACC. They want to take home that silver cup.
That CACC cup.
Nice looking trophy. We took a picture of it before the meet. So it is Caldwell with a start value of 9.40 in the open toss. Four and 1 this season is Coach Amira Boyd's club.
And that's a full twisting toss there. Which is why that's a 9.4 start value.
Sure was. From the former social media chair of the Maryland Club Gymnastics team.
And that was perfectly executed.
Come on, Sam, you know me by now. We dig deep for biographical information about these tremendous student athletes. They work hard. We want to make sure they get recognized for their contributions on the mats, in the classroom, and in the community. So we'll need to see a response from Georgian Court as they are within shouting distance. They entered down 84.200 to 78.450. This really has the making of another tight finish like we saw back on the 19th of February.
And here comes Georgian Court.
Start value 865. Tumbling event is next, but first, the open toss heat in the toss event. Yakalo.
And we talked about last time, that slight split in her legs adds an extra tenth on that start value.
Georgian Court pulled off that same move against LIU for that extra tenth of a point on the start value, and they do it again here with Yakalo. We are going to introduce the tumbling event. It is event number 5. This event has 6 heats. The first 3 are synchronized group tumbling passes, known as the duo, the trio, and the quad. The last 3 are the individual tumbling passes. The start value of each heat is determined by the difficulty and combination of skills in each pass. The judges will be looking for body position, continuity of skills, and the technique that is used in each skill. So we are waiting for the scores to come through for event number 4. After this, all that's left is the team event, and we want to remind our viewers, we have been told after the team event, Georgian Court's going to honor their 2 seniors in Samantha Sesta and Emma Bennett. Then they're going to name the 8 members of the inaugural All-Star team, 4 from each side. There's going to be an MVP, and then we will finally know the final score and crown the CACC Cup champion. And win or lose, Georgian Court head coach Sierra Garcia will join us as part of the Garden Savings Federal Credit Union post-meet show to talk about tonight and also to sum up what has been a really good second year for Georgian Court. Here are the scores for the toss event. In the 450 salto toss, Caldwell 8.45, Georgian Court 8.65. In the synchronized, Caldwell 7.95, Georgian Court 8.15. In the open, Caldwell 8.70, Caldwell 7.95. That means Caldwell turned in a 25 point. 1-0. Georgian Court was a 24.75, so it's 109.300 to 103.200. It remains tight heading to tumbling. And now we get set for the duo pass. We have Mariana Ayello and Alexa Foster for Caldwell lined up to the right. Here we go.
All right, we're going to see a round-off back handspring, back layout.
And a nice start for the Cougars. Georgian Court is going to have Katie Santisi and Luann LeGregan. So in a tight meet, Caldwell a little bit better than a 6-point advantage over Georgian Court. Everything under the microscope. It'll be Santisi and LeGregan, and I was talking to both of them after their performance against LIU. These two know each other very well. They were high school teammates at Freehold Township High School. They said it was very cool that they had the opportunity to compete together at the collegiate level. So they will compete here for Georgian Court. You have the freshman Sanchisi, you have the sophomore LeGregan in what is the duo pass heat. Georgian Court, their start value is an 8. Georgian Court welcoming back into the mix tonight Gianna Mirasol, but it does not look like we will see her in the tumbling event. We saw her early, but she is limited with an ankle injury that she suffered a couple of weeks ago in practice. Here we go, LeGregan, Sanchisi.
All right, we're going to see a round-off back handspring, full twisting layout.
The high school teammates dabbing each other up here in college.
That was well executed.
Caldwell up now with the, as you can hear from the crowd, the trio tumbling pass. That means there will be 3. And let's meet them. Kimora Bush, Piper Fitzmaurice, and Naraya Sims. 2 freshmen and a junior. Let's give you a little bit more on Naraya Sims, the freshman out of Bayonne, New Jersey, was a cheerleader in high school. Kimora Bush out of Sicklerville, New Jersey, was a member of the gymnastics team at Overbrook Senior High School. And we've told you about Fitzmaurice plenty throughout the night. The junior out of Middletown, New Jersey, was on the gymnastics team at Middletown High School South. And of course, acrobatics and tumbling blends together cheerleading and gymnastics in this emerging sports.
All right, let's see what Caldwell brings to the mat for this tumbling trio. We're going to see a front handspring, step out, round off back handspring, back twisting layout.
Executed to perfection. To perfection. They stick those landings that are so important. This tumbling event is so important. Caldwell came in with a lead a little bit bigger than 6 points, and headed into the team event, they want to build up as big a lead as possible. Mia Zdanowicz, Ashley Salveson, Caroline Iacolo will be in the trio pass for Georgian Court. A little bit more about them. Mia is the sophomore out of Brick, New Jersey, who was a 3-year letter winner in lacrosse for the Dragons of Brick Township High School. Ashley Salveson, the freshman out of Old Bridge, New Jersey. In her free time, she's a gymnastics coach. And Caroline Iacolo, the sophomore out of Point Pleasant, New Jersey. She was a gymnast at Point Pleasant Borough High School. Hard to believe, Sam, that this is it. We've been on the air now 2 years together. And this is the final meet of the season. And an eye blink, it's gone from February and taken on AIC to the middle of April, almost, in the CACC Cup against Caldwell.
It's a great way to end, Andrew.
The thumbs up has been given, and here we go with Georgian courts. 7.25 the start value for Georgian courts. Salveson, Zdanowicz, Iacolo, all on the edge of the mat. They are lined up perfectly next to each other.
All right, let's see what they give us. Round off, back handspring, back layout. You see, in that it's important to land with your feet together, so that's what the judges are looking for. So we did have one step out, but very synchronized.
Nicely done from Zdanowicz, Salveson, and Iacolo. All you could have asked for from Georgian court there. Now we go to the quad tumbling pass. That means you add one more student athlete as you get a close-up of Georgian courts completing their trio tumbling pass. And it was nicely done, all three of them. That final look, pretty much locked in step.
And we will see a little bit of a difference in start values for this next heat. So with the quad tumbling, Caldwell is going to start at 8.0 start value, and Georgian court at a 6.75.
And the four student athletes competing for Caldwell will be Elia Cardone, the senior, Alexa Bain, the sophomore, and a pair of freshmen, Adelie Bowen and Jackie Vereen. Vereen out of Suffolk, Virginia, level 10 gymnast. Bowen by way of Spring, Texas. Bain is a level 8 gymnast, product of Kingwood Township, New Jersey. And we've told you all night about Cardone, the fifth-year senior from Virginia, and the FSU transfer, that is Fairmont State. 24 on the roster for Caldwell. Georgian court has 21. The hardest part of this tumbling pass is to have all four sync together.
Oh yes, that is definitely the most difficult part about this. All right, let's see. Round off, full twisting layout.
Look pretty good from here.
Stuck landings, that's what matters.
Land with 2 feet, get it going. So Georgian court now, final tumbling pass before we break into the solo ones. Ali Pompliano, Caitlin Meyer, Kimberly Shadwell, Caitlin DePasquale for Georgian court. A little bit more on them. Pompliano is the native of Parlin, New Jersey, was a second-team All-State gymnast. Caitlin Meyer, one of those returners for Georgian court, is now in her junior season. Kimberly Shadwell, also a returner for Georgian court, now a junior. And Caitlin DePasquale out of Manalapan, New Jersey, gymnast for the Braves. The thumbs up has been given to public address announcer Joe Hoffman to introduce Georgian court.
From Georgian court, we have number 3, Ali Pompliano. Number 18, Kimberly Shadwell. Number 20, Caitlin DePasquale. And number 28, Caitlin Meyer.
Pompliano on the bottom of the mat. DePasquale on the top.
Round off back handspring, back tuck. And all
Georgian
stuck
court
landings.
accomplished what they needed to do. While we have a moment, we want to tell our viewers about the Stroll for Connection on May 9th at Georgian Court from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Space is very limited for this free event. You're going to want to RSVP by calling 732-987-2663. That's 732-987-2663. Stroll for Connection is associated with the current Georgian Court University Research Project, Intergenerational Healing Program Feasibility and Program Development in Ocean County. It is a free public walking event on Georgian Court University's historic Lakewood campus. Sounds like right up your alley, Coach. We hope to see you there. A lot of stuff coming up at Georgian Court. We have Accepted Students Day at the end of April, the Japanese Tea Experience on May 4th. Georgian Court has one of only 4 tea houses in the state of New Jersey. Big thanks to Sachiko Kamigata, who is the Director of Integrative Health at Georgian Court, for stopping by the Lion's Den to share that information with us. We've been playing it on our broadcasts over the last couple of weeks. Start value for Caldwell. Here we go.
Front handspring, front tuck, step out, round off, full.
That was Melania Castro, the native of Teaneck, New Jersey, the cheerleader out of Teaneck High School. Check that. I apologize. 27, not 21. That was Jackie Vereen, the level 10 gymnast from Virginia. Strong from Vereen. So Vereen, nicely done to start for Caldwell. And now for Georgian Court, in the aerial solo pass, it will be Luann LeGregan. And we said their start value is an 8.35. It was a 8.60 for Vereen.
Now we've seen Luann do this all season.
They're going to need a big one here from the sophomore, the quiet leader for Georgian Court.
I was going to say, if there's one person to do it, it's her.
Her teammates all down on their knees, cheering on number 21 in the whites and blue and gold.
All right. Round off, whip, back handspring, full twisting layout. And a stuck landing.
And a hug from second-year head coach Sierra Garcia. So each team continues to put up some big performances. Any mistake is magnified in a meet of this kind. The CACC Cup is on the line. And Georgian Court and Caldwell are battling it out. As you see LeGregan sticking that landing. So,
we're on to the 6th element, tumbling pass.
5th out of the 6th heat. The open heat is all that is left in Event 5, and then it is our favorite, the organized chaos.
The team event.
Music, pyramids, tumbling, dancing, shout out your mascot, represent your state, a lot going on.
So we will see different start values for Caldwell and Georgian Court here. Caldwell will be starting with a 9.55, whereas Georgian Court will be at an 8.6.
And it will be
The 15 students up in the leaders in the 6th element pass. Up first, Mr. Acrobatics, 1.55.
Piper Fitzmaurice.
All right, round off back handspring, 1.5 twisting layout, step out, round off back handspring, back, twisting full, layout. That is an incredibly hard.
Has been the go-to student athlete tonight for Caldwell. Big time efforts from number 9 in red.
And that is not an easy tumbling pass to do. You have to come out of that 1.5 twisting full, step out into another round off back handspring, and then twist again.
So if you're Katie Santisi and you see that performance there, how much pressure does it put on you to match it, knowing that your start value was a bit lower?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen Katie do this throughout the season, though, so she's definitely prepared, ready to go. She's completed it before and well.
Santisi follows LeGregan. Katie was a gymnast at Freehold Township High School. Up next will be the open solo pass. We have a big change to tell you about for Georgian Court with that one coming up. Alongside producer Robbie Fitzpatrick, my partner Sam Hosford, I'm Andrew Byrne. We thank you for joining us on this Thursday night in Lakewood. Inside the GCU Wellness Center, the Lions and the Cougars competing in the CACC Cup.
Next up, with a stroke value of 8.6 from Georgian Court, please welcome number 15, Catherine Santisi.
So it is Santisi for Georgian Court.
All right. We are going to see a front handspring, front tuck step out, round off back handspring, full twisting layout, and beautifully executed.
Absolutely stunning from a true freshman. Santisi has been in this spot before, gets it done for Georgian Court. One more heat to go. In event number 5, the tumbling heat, it is the open solo heat. Start value 8.6 for Caldwell. It'll be Jill Riggio, the level 10 gymnast out of East Windsor, New Jersey. She was the salutatorian at Bridgeway Academy. And for Georgian Court, it will be Allie Pompliano. It'll be the freshman's first time competing in the open pass in her young career. So number 7 in red with the black knee brace stands across the way. Big opportunity for Caldwell here in the open solo pass. Last individual tumbling pass before the team event. Jill Riggio for CU. Top corner starts on the hardwood.
And here we go. Round off into an Arabian step out. Round off back handspring. Full twisting layout.
Is it just me or does Caldwell stick every landing on their tumbling pass?
Now they sure do. And that's interesting. I don't know if we've seen an Arabian tuck step out this season yet. It's a hard move to accomplish. You start going backwards, twisting only halfway forward to get into that round off.
A second look, definitely worthy of it from Riggio. And now for Georgian Court, it is Pompliano. The freshman's first time competing in the open pass. There's going to be an upgrade here for Georgian Court, trying to boost their start value, which checks in at 8. You know, we talked earlier about the growth of Georgian Court acrobatics and tumbling from 1-6 last year to 3-3 coming in. How about Caldwell? From 0-6 to 3-3 to 4-1 coming in, building the program from the ground up. You don't win a single meet your first year, 3 your next year, and if you win tonight, 5-1 in year number 3 with a roster of 24. They've really built this program nicely.
It's impressive.
Here's Pompliano, the freshman, her first time. In the open pass.
All right, we will see a round-off, back handspring, full twisting layout.
First time successful from Pompliano, the freshman out of Parlin, New Jersey, and the all Greater Middlesex Conference selection. That ends event 5, and we have reached our final event of the CACC Cup, the team event. This encompasses everything you watched in the first 5 events. The team event features up to 24 athletes on the floor at one time that perform skills in acro toss, pyramid, and tumbling. This routine is set to music. Key items that the judges will evaluate are synchronization of skills, stability of structures, body positioning, and technique in tumbling. This is a very fast-paced event, so make sure you keep your eyes glued to the mats. Start value for Caldwell, 92.75 for Georgian Court, 91.15, and we are awaiting the final score to work its way onto the computer in the tumbling event. Nice Caldwell crown on head. Great to see Director of Athletic Communications Jerry Milani is here for Caldwell. And we are waiting to see the scores. What's it going to take, Sam, for Georgian Court in the team events, and on the other side for Caldwell?
I mean, for Georgian Court, we're pretty much going to most likely look to see a flawless team event out of them. No drops, no wobbles, hopefully. And Caldwell, hope to see them continue being strong.
Here on the scores, tumbling event. The duo for Caldwell, 6.25, Georgian Court, 7.40. The trio, Caldwell, 6, Georgian Court, 5 1/4. The quad, 6.45 for the Cougars, 5 for Georgian Court. The aerial, 8.20 to 7.60. Caldwell. In Heat 5 at 8.975, Georgian Court in 8.050, then Caldwell in Heat 6 and 8.200, Georgian Court 7.550, Caldwell 44.075, Georgian Court 40.850. So the Cougars have opened up a little bit more than a 9-point lead heading into the team event, 153.375 to 144.050. Going to be tough, but possible.
Definitely possible, but need to have the team event of their lives right now.
Should be pointed out that Georgian Courts a couple of weeks ago set a program record in the team event, 71.70. Obviously, they're going to need to come closer to their start value. Here come the Cougars. 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock.
Our favorite portion of the evening, organized chaos.
22 of their 24 student athletes out on the floor. They have a couple of student athletes that are banged up. Music on, clock ticking. Caldwell looking for a CACC Cup win.
And we did already see one fall.
And any kind of mistake opens the door for Georgian Court.
We'll see those synchronized pyramids.
Straddle holds. Some twisting layouts. A lot happening. Keep your eye all over the mat.
A lot of stuff going on as per usual.
A lot of toe pitches going on. So far, other than that one fall, it has been pretty flawless from Caldwell. 90 seconds left.
We're going to see some tumbling here. Some round off back handspring, back twisting layouts. Some round off folds. See those tosses.
All those catches were clean, individual tumbling passes. A minute left for the Cougars. Their start value was 92.75. They came in with a lead greater than 9 points. Trying to sweep Georgian court, but win the big one, the inaugural CACC Cup.
And all stuck landings there.
It has gone according to plan for the first 210. A pike hold.
And those back tuck tosses.
We are up to the dancing portion, and then I'm going to guess they're going to shout out the Cougars.
And that was very clean out of Caldwell.
I think CU did what they needed to do in the team event. Now Georgian court is going to have to put on a team event to remember.
Absolutely.
Because remember, they came in 9 or so points down. So the Lions will have 245, their start value for the team events. $91.15.
Fans who can learn more about acrobatics and tumbling, the first one is sports women by visiting NCATA.org. There you'll find 2025 meet schedule results, information about NCATA members, and links to NCATA social media, as well as information about becoming a coach, student athlete, or official in this exciting sport. Visit the NCATA.org today.
So Georgian court just saw Caldwell perform. You're seeing the replay on your screen. And now it is Georgian court is getting set to compete in their team events. Lions and the Cougars. What an NCATA meet this has been. It's not impossible for Georgian court. They have to be near flawless. They have trained so hard for this moment. Coach Garsha, Coach Gelati have done such a great job for Georgian court this season. Now 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Twenty of the 21 on the Georgian court roster will take to the floor for the team event. They have one student athlete that is injured. And don't forget, after this, we will honor the two Georgian court seniors, Sam Sesta, Emma Bennett. We're going to hand out some Hardware to the 8 that we believe will make the All-Star team, 4 on each side. There will be an MVP, and then we will learn the team event score and the final score and hand out the hardware to the winning team of the inaugural CACC Cup. And we're going to chat with Coach Garcia as part of the Garden Savings Federal Credit Union post-meet show. This is the one area that you'd like to see the NCATA as they move forward with this emerging sport try to clean up. Just a long downtime in between, because you have the fan bases that are so energized for the action. They were so fired up for Caldwell, and I understand there was a lot going on, but 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes waiting around. Now Georgian Court's going to get it. That's just the one area that you'd like to see cleaned up as this sport continues to evolve year after year. Here we go, Georgian Court in Caldwell. Finally, it's Georgian Court's time to shine for the team event. Music is on, clock has started. GCU needs a monster performance for the team event.
That's a great start.
First 30 seconds off the clock as Georgian Court does some individual tumbling passes. There are those thigh stand pyramids. LeGregan's in the middle. Iacolo's on the right. They're trying to get Di Pasquale up there as well.
And holds.
Georgian Court dismounts. A lot of smiles. You want to make sure you keep a good smile on your face and composure.
And we see Mirasol in the middle.
More tumbling passes. 6 of them going at once.
And all landed.
Here is LeGregan, followed by Santuzzi.
Beautiful.
Slow start for Georgian Court, but they're hitting their stride down the stretch. A lot of inversions coming. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Several with the single base hold, then the dismount. 35 seconds to work for Georgian Court.
And some tosses.
It'll end with the dancing portion for Georgian Court. And a pike hold from LeGregan. Georgian Court turns in a very strong team event.
And they are excited.
Took just a bit for them to get going, but once they did, it was perfect until the end. And now we wait. Well, Obviously, there's going to be a winner and a loser tonight for the CACC Cup, but both of these teams really showed up tonight with a nice crowd on hand and put on quite a performance.
Absolutely. I mean, they had fun doing it, too.
Each team was cheering on and supporting the other, which is always great to see. And now we wait. We were told that we won't know the final score for a bit because Senior Day festivities are supposed to happen momentarily. Sam Sesta and Emma Bennett are going to be recognized for Georgian courts. Saw Coach Garsha hustling over to get the balloons. And then there's going to be the all-star teams, the MVP with a team event score, and then the trophy presentation, and then post-meet reaction. So there's a lot to still happen. And we thank you so much for joining us here on the CACC Digital Network. Alongside Sam Hosford, I'm Andrew Byrne. We thank you for tuning in on the CACC Digital Network. Sam, what has been your overall impression tonight?
I think that both teams came out to compete, which is super important. I mean, we saw good things from both sides. We saw Georgian Court excel in some of the heats and the events. And we saw Caldwell excel in some of the others.
That was a fun team event put on by both sides. And now we are getting set for the Senior Day festivities. Emma Bennett, one of those returners for Georgian Court. Sam Sesta, first-year member for the Lions acrobatic and tumbling team, and this is their second year as a program. Georgian Court Acrobatics and Tumbling is brought to you in part by Castle Interactive, Stouts Transportation, Kessler Rehabilitation Center, and by Bob McCloskey Insurance. We are going to take a break here. Much more to come from inside the Wellness Center on the CACC Digital Network. And now we are back to recognize the Georgian Court Senior Class of 2025. Georgian Court with two seniors. We're going to turn that over to public address announcer Joe Hoffman for the announcements.
She has a 3.6 GPA as a nursing major. Joining Samantha this evening, her mom, Penny, her dad, Rob, sister Kelly, and nieces Jessa and Sailor. From Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey, let's hear it for number one, Samantha Sesta.
The first senior, Samantha Sesta, the native of Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey.
And our final senior is Emma Bennett.
The next senior for Georgian Court, two-sport athlete, also the starting goalkeeper for the women's soccer team, Emma Bennett.
She played on the soccer team, but has turned herself into a valuable member of the acro team as well. Emma is studying exercise science and also has a 3.6 GPA. She's joined tonight by her mom, Lori, and brother, Brad. From Lincroft, New Jersey, give it up for number 24, Emma Bennett.
Always nice to see the seniors recognized on what is a special night. Emma Bennett and Samantha Sesta, as you get a close-up look at number 1 and number 24. Sesta, the first-year member. Bennett, the second-year member, also a valuable part of the Georgian Court women's soccer team. How about a 9-3-1 record when she was in goal for Coach Moore's club? And our favorite, she was the base on the crab pyramid.
Oh, that is always our favorite move, Andrew. And she does it well. Going to be hard to replace next year.
It sure is. Georgian Court's going to have some key spots to fill as the entire team has come out onto the floor to take a nice photo with their two seniors, Sesta and Bennett. So, a nice gesture as Georgian Court recognizes two key contributors this season, and in Bennett's case last season as well, and they're still calculating the scores. I think the next thing here is going to be the
Georgian Court and Caldwell would like to honor their 2025 MVP team members.
MVP team members. Each team has 4 that are selected. Here we go.
Number 1, Cadence Vining.
From Caldwell, it is the junior out of Latham, New York, Cadence Vining. It's a nice thing that both schools put together, since there's only 2 that compete in the CACC. There's no real postseason. The next MVP from Caldwell, Elia Cardone.
Number 13, Mariah Sims.
The third MVP, who is hobbled and getting carried over by the certified athletic trainer at Caldwell. That is Nariah Sims. They were still taping up her left ankle. Courageous effort from number 13.
Absolutely.
And number 14, Mariana Aiello.
And Mariana Aiello. So congratulations to Cadence, Elia, Nariah, and Mariana, the 4 members of the MVP team for Caldwell. And now the 4 for Georgian Court.
The MVP team members for Georgian Court. Starting with number 3, Ali Pompliano.
Ali Pompliano, the freshman out of Parla, New Jersey, is the first member.
Numbers 18, Kimberly Shadwell.
Kimberly Shadwell, who was one of those key bases for Georgian Court, and also helped out in the tumbling.
Number 22, Emily Miller.
Emily Miller, the Butler, New Jersey product.
And number 24, senior Emma Bennett.
And Emma Bennett, the senior. So congratulations to Pompliano, Shadwell, Miller, and Bennett, your 4 for Georgian Court on the MVP team.
And let's have a round of applause for the 2025 MVP team members from both Caldwell and Georgian Court.
Nice ovation from the crowd.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Final scores.
And now the final scores.
First, we'd like to congratulations to all the competitors today. And here are today's final scores.
In the team events,
Team events.
Caldwell with a 75.050, Georgian Court with a 72.100.
And your meet total scores. Caldwell, 228.425.
Caldwell, 228.425. Georgian Court, 216.150. Caldwell, the 2025 CACC Cup champions. And it is Athletic Director at Caldwell, Mark Carino, that will present the inaugural CACC Cup trophy to the Cougars. So certainly a nice event put together from the two schools. We expected it to be close. It was. And hats off to Caldwell. One heck of a performance from them tonight.
And it's great to see two younger teams just getting their start, 2 and 3 years in. It's great to see that they can make this an annual thing.
Year 3 of the program, a smashing success for Caldwell. They finish it at 5-1. Georgian Court, what a big second year it was for them. They finish at 3-4. We're going to hear from Georgian Court. Head coach Sierra Garcia is part of the Garden Savings Federal Credit Union post-meet show coming up on the CACC Digital Network. And we welcome you into the Garden Savings Federal Credit Union post-meet show. We are joined now by Georgian Court head coach Sierra Garcia. Coach, the inaugural CACC Cup. This was a fun meet, a great environment. What were your biggest takeaways from tonight?
Yeah, it was definitely a fun meet. It's nice that we get to have this big competition at the end for both of our teams. We're super happy with how everything went, and the energy in the room was just like nothing we've seen before, so that definitely brought out the best in everyone.
We saw a lot of different student athletes competing in different things. Ali Pompliano had a strong night for Georgian Court. How bittersweet was it for you on that final meet to see so many student athletes get thrust into new roles and
Skills and perform, and it was nice to see new people in new positions at such a big meet, and it's a lot of pressure, but they pulled through.
This program, just in their second year, wins 3 meets after only winning 1 last year. How was this program in year number 2 under you able to continue to build onto bigger and better things?
Well, with recruiting, we did bring in a lot of strong tumblers, and they were able to apply their tumbling skills into the acros, which is why we had to upgrade a lot of things, and a lot of things are cleaned up just based off of the previous year's experience. So just those combined, having new athletes and last year's experience is what made us be very successful this year.
What are you going to miss most about Emma Bennett and Sam Sesta, the 2 seniors that were honored moments ago?
We'll definitely miss them a lot. They're also really great leaders on the team as well. So all around, really fantastic athletes. So it definitely will be a loss, but I know that they'll come back and cheer on their teams and everything, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future.
As always, Coach, it's been a pleasure having you up here after every meet. We look forward to following your team's progress in the offseason and can't wait for year number 3.
Thank you.
That will do it for our coverage of Georgian Court Acrobatics and Tumbling on behalf of our great team this year, led by producer Robbie Fitzpatrick and my partner, analyst Sam Hosford. I'm Andrew Burns saying so long for now from the Wellness Center. We'll see you for lacrosse on Saturday. Have a great night.